GM. GM. Data levels Monday, 6th of May. So, I talked yesterday on Weekly Outlook about extended rally, and I don't think we're going to go down yet. I don't think we're out of the woods yet. I don't think the downside is finished. I think there's a lot more potential pullbacks to come. But nothing is setting up to dump right away. So I think this is the part where people keep shorting and keep getting wrecked over and over and over. Because it's just too soon to short. Right? There's plenty of room for it to keep squeezing upwards. So we didn't get there would have been a bullish dip back down into this area to flush out some late longs. Didn't get that. We basically got the blue path, which just consolidates above, breaks out. Now, Bitcoin, in the higher time frame perspective, has work to do here. It's above the 50 EMA, and it's above the daily bands, and it's above the 64k breakdown level. So, at the bare minimum, it needs to have a strong daily close. If it closes today's candle somewhere around here, that would be a very good starting point, a good sign. And that would be a sign of the bottom being in, not a sign that we go up only. Inverting the chart here, you can see that if this was, because sometimes some people find it easier to look at the inverted chart, right? If you ever find yourself getting too biased, especially bullish, take a look at it this way. So this can still just be a series of low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. This can just be another higher low, and we can go to another higher high, which of course would be bearish. So if you're waiting for your ultimate confirmation, it is a strong close through 67 to 70. A strong daily close in that area gives you all the confirmation you need. But given the breakdown level has been breached and reclaimed, and we've got the 12, 21 bands and the 50 EMA, closing above all of that, especially for a few days, not just one day, would also be good enough for me to say it bottoms in. But you have to kind of think about it as well, like, it's taken Bitcoin, it only took Bitcoin like from it lost this level Monday, now it's Monday, right? It took a week for it to flush down and back up. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for Bitcoin. Obviously, it still hasn't reclaimed the war sell-off panic level, Saturday 13th of April. But let's look at the equivalent. How has gold done since then? 13th of April. So the Monday after the war fears, gold is still trading below that as well. So I think that speaks more to what the actual market is fearing rather than Bitcoin itself. Because the war panic was here. If gold was here and Bitcoin was where Bitcoin is, it would be more informative about Bitcoin's not being considered a hedge against war or geopolitical conflict. I think the market's just calling bullshit on the war in general. Right? And the market's saying it's probably already priced in. And don't forget, like, the Gaza war started over here, 7th of October, it's a Saturday. So, like, that's when the latest geopolitical conflict in the Middle East started. So, you have to think about how much of a run Bitcoin has been on since then, and how much of a run gold has been on since then. And what people think is, oh, well, there's this new thing, Iran and Israel, which seems to have quieted off anyway. But people are like, well, Bitcoin should go higher, gold should go higher because it's going to escalate. But isn't it also true that for all of these months on BTC, but Bitcoin had the ETF narrative, so let's especially look at gold. Gold literally bottomed at the very, 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 very start of the war in Gaza, and boom, away we are here. Now, was all of this appreciation driven by just that war between Israel and Palestine? I don't think so. it's also looking ahead. It's like part of the market would be saying, the future doesn't look so bright. Let's hoard some gold. Let's stack some Bitcoin. Because if the next thing happens, we want to be prepared for it. And I think that's why when you saw the next thing, the slight risk of Iran and Israel, you didn't see any more upside. And that's a pretty clear, that's a pretty clear top for gold. Right? Because think about it this way. I've already drawn that path, which I think gold takes. So gold has been on a very solid run. And, 6 months. 6 months of upside for gold. Up 34%, which is that's like being up 300% for Bitcoin. And news failure event. Right? Big news, scary news for the world. Should have been news that moons gold, and gold actually sold off. Just think of it this way, the exact same way that gold mooned straight after the Gaza conflict. That's exactly how that news should affect gold. Then why did the same, if not even worse, potential, right? Iran is much bigger, and it's a escalation of that war. Why did that top gold? Because it's overbought. In very, very, very simple sense, it's overbought. People have bought too much protection in the form of gold. They're too long gold, and it's topped. And because of that, it's really going to struggle. Because that's like one of the biggest catalysts for something like gold. So gold's probably done for a while. It's probably either going to go sideways, chop around, it's going to drop back here, wherever, and whatever it does. It's out of steam for now, right? And I think it is just literally something like this. It's just a few months of chopping, sideways, and then it'll go again, probably whenever there's money printing again. Because that's the other thing, that gold is gold is a hedge against fiat, just like Bitcoin is. So if they print more money, gold will go up. So will Bitcoin. But in that environment though, Bitcoin will outperform. Right? In the environment of where it's just money printing, Bitcoin beats gold every single day of the week. Because it's just like gold on steroids. And so there's not much more to add outside of what I said on Weekly Outlook. I think this is a good start, but there's areas where Bitcoin can reject. So one of the areas where Bitcoin could reject would be 64 and an inability to flip these levels. So unless we have a strong reversal today, and I mean strong reversal, it has to close below 64 after being up here, which isn't impossible. Right? That wouldn't take much at all. We've had a pretty inefficient move up, right? We've just pumped, but out of a very nice consolidation, right? But we have just pumped up into the highs, across a 2-hour span. We've taken out a bunch of stops. We've taken out these stops as well at 65 too. There's every chance that could be the early week trap. Down we go. And if so, I'll be watching for further weakness and a failure to reclaim. And at that point, you're looking downwards. I don't think it's that likely. I think the squeeze is probably going to continue. And I'll explain on Trade of the Day why. It just, when you look across some of the alts, there's more room for them to go. But then there's also alts that are telling you that a pullback could be imminent. So it's really one of those on the fence times. I'm long Bitcoin. Still. Right? I got long Bitcoin right down there at that point of control, 59.4. And I'm still long. I'm waiting for reasons to exit. I don't see any reasons yet. So we stay long, but I am expecting downside. I think it might not be until later in May. Probably, do we grind up enough for people to say, oh, sell in May and walk away is dumb? Right? Do we just go up it long enough for people to forget about that? And then we go? Who knows? Anyway. That's all. GM. I've recorded this video a different way. I've just used a direct screen recording. on my QuickTime player, which is like the highest quality way to record. The only reason I don't normally do it is because it's very slow, because it takes time then to upload and render, and it's like very storage intensive. It's like 1 GB every day, or 1.5 GB every day of videos. So all of us profs, we usually use the Vimeo screen record function on the Vimeo website, which has worked perfectly fine for the last 6 months. But I know you've been some of you have been mentioning that the sync of the audio and the video isn't right, meaning like my voice will be 2 or 3 seconds behind the screen, which I know is super annoying. Nothing more annoying than that. So tell me in trading chat, how is today's one? This is recorded, the highest quality recording possible. It should not happen. If it does happen, something's wrong with Vimeo on their end when we upload, or maybe the Learning Center. I don't know. Tell me. Hopefully this one's fine. Hopefully my voice is synced up. GM.